Question of the day: what's the game you would like to see with an open world simulation feel to it? Obviously, we're talking about Western Legends today, which, you know, if you've seen my review of it, is a very, very, very high list of my game on my list of games that I love. But things like Xia Legends of a Drift System, even the feel a little bit of the new Outer Rim game. But what's a game you would like to see, an IP you would like to see with an open world feel to it? So in Western Legends, obviously, you can do whatever you want, right? You can be a wrangler or a gold miner or an outlaw or a law person, you know what I'm saying? You've got a lot of different options. Now, what would you like to see as far as that? Let me know in the comments below what that would be and why. Because today we're looking at the 2 expansions thus far for Western Legends. That would be Fistful of Extras and The Good, the Bad, the Handsome. We're going to see what these add to the game, if you should pick these up or not, if you missed the Kickstarter. And then we're gonna come back on what we talk about them and talk about what we think about them, something like that. Anyway, I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Let's do this. So today we're taking a look at the 2 small box expansions that are out now for Western Legends. If you would have got this Kickstarter, you would have got both together, but if you bought it retail, obviously they're coming out now. So you have Good, Bad, Handsome and Fistful of Extras. Admittedly, Fistful of Extras has more. Good, Bad, and Handsome has a few less things, but it has some really neat things. Let's take a look at what's in Good, Bad, and the Handsome right now. Admittedly, this is the main bulk of it. It is the legendary item system, as well as 3 new characters: Joaquin Murrieta, Judge Roy Bean, and then Butch Cassidy. You can see their powers. If you're a wanted player, gain an LP after you fight a martial player. If you're a martial player, gain an LP after you fight a wanted player. So it kind of encourages you to duel. Judge Roy Bean, in a fight against a bandit, guard, or sheriff, they must choose and reveal their card first. In a fight against a bandit, guard, or sheriff, you win all ties. That's really neat. So then we have Butch Cassidy. After you rob another player, you may steal 1 non-mount, non-weapon item that you do not own instead of half of their money. After you arrest another player, you may steal half the player's money or gold nuggets. So just a neat way to kind of spruce up the game with these characters. But the main thing are these legendary items. These are ones that you can only have 1 legendary item apiece. They are hard to come by. They're really neat though, so I'm going to go through these and actually just show you all of them, if you will. So you have Dynamite. This is discard this to give each player within 1 space 1 wound. Those players must also discard a random poker card, gain a victory point. The Marshal's Badge. After cards are revealed in an arrest, you may discard this to cancel that arrest and initiate another arrest. If you do, draw 1 poker card and gain a victory point, LP. Action. This is the Silver Flask. Discard this to lose all wounds, draw to your maximum hand size, and gain a victory point. Bowie Knife. After cards are revealed in the fight against another player, discard this to decrease the value of the card played against you by 1. Give that player 1 wound and gain a victory point. Thunder. This is a nice, gosh, I want to say that's a, the type of pistol is blanking me right now. After you win a fight against a bandit, guard, or the sheriff, gain a victory point. So it's just another way to boost points. I mean, think about that. If you're wide open this, it's game over. You know what I'm saying? The Tomahawk. At the start of a fight, you may discard 1 poker card to draw 1 poker card. I like that. It also shows that they're worth a victory point at the end of the game. The Outlaws Mask. After cards are revealed in a fight against a bandit, guard, or the sheriff, you may discard this to win that fight instead. If you do, draw a poker card and gain an LP. I like that. Lightning. Another horse. It's got 3 movement, but action. Move to a bandit hideout. Yet again, if Wyatt Earp has this, it's just gangbusters because it's wiping out the entire board with it. That's incredible. That's really good. The Lasso. After you end a move against action in a ranch space, gain a cattle token, so it really kind of speeds up the way to get cattle. The Black Coat. After you gain this, gain 2 martial points or 2 wanted points. A wanted player that gains this may choose to gain martial points in this way. So it's just a way to switch. Companion. If you start your turn outside of town, gain 1 additional action. I love that. Mesa Deed. Action. Discard this and choose 3. Gain $50, gain a cattle token, a gold nugget, an LP, or move to any space outside of town. And those are the legendary items that come with it. But that is the bulk of the Good, the Bad, and Handsome. And so you can get those legendary items, which admittedly you get through story cards. They say draw a legendary card. So it's not quite the same as just new items, but they do add a lot of flavor to it. Now, the other expansion is Fistful of Extras. Let's take a look now. So, admittedly much more, right? First thing you notice are these Joker cards here. These are Joker cards you play with in your poker deck, and if you bought the Colossal, or if you got it in the Kickstarter, the 52 actual poker cards that come with it, the actual deck of cards, these are the Jokers that are in that. So I wondered what these were in my deck that I had before I had this expansion. These are basically wild cards that, do a lot of stuff that you can do with those cards. But anyway, that's the Joker cards that come with this. You have new miniatures. You have 6 new miniatures, and some of them are designated for Calamity Jane, Wyatt Earp, and then the other ones are a couple different bandits. So it's nice to have these designated ones that are definitely supposed to be these characters that you kind of grow to love already from the game. So those times you're like, I want that one that looks like Wyatt Earp. Well, this one is actually specifically supposed to be Wyatt Earp, as well as some other ones. You have new items as well, and these are my favorite thing about this expansion, hands down. You have the Peacemaker, or the Peacekeeper, excuse me. And yet again, these are all named on the back. Love that. The Peacemaker, Peacekeeper, excuse me. If you're a marshal, gain 1 additional marshal point after you arrest a player or wrangle. If you're wanted, gain an additional wanted point after you rob or wrangle. For the equalizer side, this is if you're a marshal, gain a bit, and if you're one, so it's the same thing. It's just worth more victory points in the back. Here's my favorite item in the entire game right here, the Workhorse. This adds balance to the game. It adds options to the game. I think this is so useful to have in the game. It's only a 3 movement. Obviously, it becomes 4 on the back. Old Ethel there. But it's $40, and you can carry 1 additional cattle token. After you use an acquire action at a ranch space, gain an additional cattle token. So you get 2 cattle on you, and you can carry 2 cattle with you. That just speeds up your ability. If you're trying to play the game in a Kit Carson sort of way, it speeds up your ability to get up the wanted track or up the marshal track using cattle as your source to do it instead of having to go fight bandits. This is just a brilliant addition to the game. Also, look at that. Check that out. It looks like it's just an expanding horse. But I love this. Love these pieces right here. And then the holster, it says after cards are revealed in a fight, you may discard any number of poker cards to decrease the value of a card played against you by 1 for each poker card discarded that way. So it's just a nice little perk there for fights. New story cards, obviously, that have to do with this. 6 new characters. Now this is also really cool. So you have Pearl Heart. After you gain any number of martial or wanted points on your turn, draw a poker card and move up to 2 spaces. I like that. Alan Pinkerton, action. Choose a player within 1 space to show you their poker cards. That player must discard all cards of value of their choice. Because you know the whole spy thing. Bat Masterson, old TV show, classic Western guy, famous Western character. At the start of your turn, you may add or remove a bandit from any bandit hideout to move up to 2 spaces. I like that. Bell Star. In a fight against a bandit, guard, or the sheriff, decrease the value of the fight card played against you by 2. After you win a fight against a bandit, you may choose to gain 1 wanted point instead. If you start your turn outside of town, you can gain a gold nugget. That's Buffalo Bill Cody. That's fantastic. Ism Dart. If you start your turn with at least 1 cattle token, you may gain 1 additional action. If you do this, you must discard all cattle tokens at the end of your turn. So if you're doing this combined with the Workhorse, this is a great strategy with Ism Dart. And then the last thing is this bandit expansion, to where you put these stickers on the bottom of the bandit miniatures, and then you, depending on what numbers on the bottom of each one, each time you fight a bandit, this is what happens. It corresponds to the number of these cards. It's kind of shuffled up randomly, and let's say it's number 2. Well, you look at card here and look at number 2. A player that loses this bandit gains 1, or loses to this bandit gains a wound. So it's just neat little flavorful things that just add constant new stuff to the game. So that's Good, Bad, and the Handsome, and Fistful of Extras. Both, to me personally, are unmissable. But if you are going to pick one over the other, definitely pick up Fistful of Extras over Good, Bad, and Handsome, even though Good, Bad, and Handsome is really great in its own right because of those legendary items. Those are cool. The only downside of the legendary items, unless you house rule it a little bit, they don't come up quite as often as you might like. So you might only see 1 or 2 per game, which again, that's kind of an incentive to play more with those so you can see what they do. And they are pretty powerful, so you wouldn't want to just have them slapped around everywhere. Now, also, the extra cards it adds for events and stories, those things are nice as well. But the main bulk of the Good, the Bad, and the Handsome is in fact those legendary cards, plus the legendary item cards, plus the story cards that go along with that. Now, If you were going to talk about Fistful of Extras, though, the reason I would say you really need to pick this up is not just for the fact that it comes with more characters. You get the 3 other miniatures, right? You get a miniature designated for Wyatt Earp, right? You get six new characters that you can play as, and some of them are really cool, but also the items. The items are the reason why I think this, to me, is the most important part of having Fistful of Extras, and I really wish these 2 items would have been in the base game, especially one of them, because I feel like this is a balance to some of the gameplay. You know how you can easily run away with it if you're chasing down bandits. It's an easy way to run away with the game. But the addition of these items right here, that would be the Workhorse. That is a very fantastic balance to the game. The reason why, as I read earlier, the Workhorse says you can carry 1 additional cattle token after you use an acquire action at a ranch space, gain 1 additional cattle token. So it allows you to get 2 cattle at one time, and it also allows you to carry 2 cattle. Why that's important is if you're choosing to stay out of the fights, if you're choosing to get out of the way, it gives you an opportunity to get in to get points elsewhere. Go up the martial track or the wanted track elsewhere instead of having to get right in the heat of things and rob and fight and duel and all that sort of stuff. You also don't have to go for the gold route. This just is a better way to get more options, and I think that's why Fistful of Extras is absolutely unmissable just for that one item alone, but along with the other stuff. Obviously, it's a combo pack. The gold cards, all the new gold cards, the new story cards, the gold cards for the characters, of course, but the story cards, the item cards, you get the jokers in here for the poker cards, so it's nice to have that, as well as the bandit variant, which is kind of cool, right? So each bandit is a different type of bandit now. It's not all the same thing. They all kind of do different things and add to the game. So that's Fistful of Extras. I highly recommend picking up Fistful of Extras. If you can get Good, Bad, and the Handsome as well, go ahead and get that as well, just because it finishes out the game with those legendary items until Ante-Up comes out, right? But all in all, both of these expansions together, if you can get your hands on them, definitely get them to add to Western Legends, because it just makes the experience even more better every time you play. Now, those of you who kickstarted this already know this, because you've had these in there the whole time. But those of us who didn't kickstart at the time, yeah, I know. You get a chance now to have all that in the game. So definitely go pick up these 2 expansions if you like Western Legends. If you don't like Western Legends, these aren't going to move the needle that much for you unless you felt the balance was a little bit off. Then Fistful of Extras might move the needle. If you loved Western Legends already, definitely pick these up. These are you would never play the game without these, in my opinion. But that's the 2 expansions thus far for Western Legends. I'm Brian Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to check out our other videos on the playlist that I list down here in the description. And then follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff at The Latest Retro. And until then, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas, for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando, in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.